The night sky was calm and endless as Flight 271 cruised high above the clouds. Inside the cockpit, the soft glow of instrument panels reflected on Captain Daniel Harris's face. Everything had been routine for the past few hours. The aircraft was flying smoothly at 36,000 feet, carrying over 200 passengers across the dark ocean. Then suddenly, a warning light blinked. At first, Harris thought it was a minor system alert. He leaned forward, studying the panel. But within seconds, another alarm sounded. Then another. "That's not good," First Officer Mark Lewis muttered, his eyes scanning the gauges. The engines began to lose thrust. "Engine power dropping," Lewis said, his voice tense. Harris grabbed the controls and tried to stabilize the aircraft. The plane started losing altitude slowly, the autopilot struggling to maintain balance. "Restart procedures," Harris ordered. Lewis immediately flipped through the emergency checklist. His fingers moved quickly over switches and buttons, but the engines refused to respond properly. The cockpit filled with warning tones. Outside, the sky remained silent and dark, but inside the aircraft, tension was rising fast. Passengers in the cabin began to feel the plane descend. Some looked out their windows nervously as the wings trembled slightly. Back in the cockpit, Harris reached for the radio. "Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Flight 271. We are experiencing severe engine failure, losing altitude. Request immediate assistance." The message echoed across the air traffic control network. Hundreds of miles away, controllers instantly reacted. "Flight 271, this is Control. We read you. What's your current altitude?" "Passing 31,000 feet and still dropping," Harris replied. "Attempt engine restart procedures." "We already tried," Lewis said quietly. Harris rubbed his forehead, trying to stay calm. Years of training told him to keep control, but the situation was deteriorating faster than expected. "Captain," Lewis said, his voice barely steady, "if both engines fail completely, we won't make it to the nearest airport." Harris looked at the radar. Nothing but empty ocean for hundreds of miles. The aircraft shuddered again. Another alarm screamed. Engine 2 was nearly dead. Harris pressed the radio button again, his voice heavier this time. "Control, it's over. We're losing the aircraft." For a moment, silence filled the frequency. Air traffic control tried to respond, but even they sounded uncertain. Flight 271 remained calm, tried to glide and maintain heading, but before the controller could finish, the radio crackled. A strange burst of static filled the cockpit. Lewis frowned. "That's not ATC." Then a calm, unfamiliar voice came through the radio. "Clear, steady, confident. Flight 271, this is call sign Phoenix." Harris and Lewis exchanged confused looks. The voice continued. "Do not panic. Maintain altitude as long as possible. I'm tracking your position." Harris grabbed the radio. "Phoenix, identify yourself. Are you military?" There was a brief pause. "Focus on the aircraft, Captain." Lewis checked the radar screen. "Captain, look at this." Two fast-moving blips had just appeared. They were approaching at incredible speed. Harris leaned closer to the display. "What the hell?" The radar tags updated. F-22 Raptors. The two fighter jets were racing straight toward Flight 271. Back in the passenger cabin, most people had no idea what was happening, but they could feel the aircraft trembling. Some passengers whispered nervously. A mother held her child tightly. Flight attendants tried to stay calm as they moved through the aisle. "Please remain seated and fasten your seatbelts," one of them said, forcing a reassuring smile. But inside the cockpit, the situation was critical. Altitude, 28,000 feet. Engine 2 had almost completely died. Engine 1 was barely holding. Harris spoke again into the radio. "Phoenix, we are losing power fast. What do you suggest?" The mysterious voice responded instantly. "Reduce throttle. Stabilize airflow through Engine 1. Lewis looked shocked. "That's not standard procedure." But strangely, it started working. The engine vibrations slowed slightly. "Now listen carefully," Phoenix continued. "Your fuel pressure sensors are reading wrong. Switch to manual override on the secondary valve." Lewis froze. That system, hardly anyone uses it. Harris didn't hesitate. Do it." Lewis flipped the switch. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the engine roared slightly louder. "RPM increasing," Lewis shouted. Outside the aircraft, two dark shapes sliced through the clouds. The F-22 fighters had arrived. Their sleek silhouettes moved into formation beside the struggling passenger plane. One pilot spoke over the radio. "Flight 271, this is Eagle 1. We have visual contact." Harris looked out the cockpit window and saw the fighter jet flying just off the wing. Relief flooded through him. "Good to see you, Eagle 1." But something still didn't make sense. Harris pressed the radio again. "Phoenix, are you coordinating these fighters?" No response. The frequency went quiet for a moment. Then the mysterious voice returned. "Stay focused, Captain. You're not safe yet." Lewis whispered, "Who is this guy?" Harris didn't know. But whoever Phoenix was, they knew exactly what they were doing. The aircraft stopped losing altitude. For the first time in several minutes, the plane stabilized. Passengers still had no idea how close they had come to disaster. Outside, the two F-22 Raptors continued escorting the aircraft through the dark sky. Inside the cockpit, Harris gripped the controls and listened carefully. "Phoenix," he said slowly, "we're stable, and for now." The voice answered calmly, "Good, because the hardest part is—" And in the darkness beyond the cockpit windows, the ocean stretched endlessly below them. The cockpit of Flight 271 was quiet for a few seconds after the mysterious voice finished speaking. Captain Daniel Harris tightened his grip on the controls, while First Officer Mark Lewis kept his eyes locked on the instruments. The aircraft had finally stabilized at 27,000 feet, but both pilots knew the situation was far from safe. One engine was barely functioning, and the other was still unstable. Outside the cockpit window, the dark sky stretched endlessly. Beside the aircraft, the two F-22 fighter jets flew smoothly in formation, their navigation lights blinking quietly in the night. Harris exhaled slowly. "Phoenix," he said over the radio, "you said the hardest part is ahead. What do we do now?" For a moment there was only static. Then the calm voice returned. "Captain Harris, your aircraft's engine control system is still misreading fuel flow. If you continue on current settings, the engine will fail completely within 10 minutes. Lewis looked down at the engine monitor. "He's right," he whispered. "Fuel pressure is fluctuating again." Harris spoke again. "Phoenix, what's the solution?" The voice answered immediately. "You're going to perform a controlled restart of Engine 2. Lewis's eyes widened. "At this altitude," he muttered, "that's extremely risky." Harris hesitated too. Restarting a damaged engine mid-flight could either save the aircraft or destroy the remaining systems. But the voice sounded confident. "Listen carefully," Phoenix said. "Throttle Engine 1 to 30%. Cut fuel to Engine 2 for 8 seconds, then reopen the secondary fuel valve." Lewis quickly wrote the instructions on the checklist. "Captain, this isn't in the manual." Harris glanced out the window at the escorting fighters. "If those jets are here," he said quietly, "someone very serious is guiding us." He pressed the radio. "All right, Phoenix, we'll try it." Lewis began the countdown, reducing throttle 30%. The aircraft vibrated slightly as power dropped. "Cutting fuel to Engine 2, now!" The cockpit filled with silence. 8 seconds suddenly felt like forever. Passengers in the cabin could feel the plane slightly slowing, but no announcement had been made yet. Some people held their breath, sensing something wasn't right. In the cockpit, Lewis watched the timer. 3, 2, 1. "Reopen the valve," Harris ordered. Lewis flipped the switch. For a second, nothing happened. Then a loud rumble shook the aircraft. Both pilots froze. Engine 2's fan blades began spinning again. "RPM rising!" Lewis shouted. The engine gauges climbed slowly. 20%, 30%, 40%. The engine was coming back to life. Harris couldn't believe it. "Phoenix!" The restart worked. Outside the aircraft, the two F-22 Raptors adjusted. "Do not celebrate yet. Your aircraft is stable, but you still need to land." Inside the cockpit, their formation slightly, staying close as silent guardians. But the mysterious voice spoke again. Harris nodded, even though Phoenix couldn't see him. "Nearest airport?" Lewis quickly checked the navigation screen. "There's a military airbase about 160 miles west." Phoenix spoke again. "That's where you're going." Harris raised an eyebrow. "Military base? Will they accept us?" The voice replied calmly. "They're expecting you." Lewis whispered, "How would they already know?" Harris had the same question, but there was no time to ask. The radio crackled again. A new voice appeared. Flight 271, this is Eagle 1. We'll escort you to the base. Harris responded. Copy that, Eagle 1. The aircraft slowly turned west, guided by the fighter jets. For the next 20 minutes, the pilots followed Phoenix's instructions exactly. Every few minutes, the mysterious voice corrected their settings, helping them balance fuel flow and engine temperature. Without those instructions, the engines might have failed again. Finally, Lewis spotted lights on the horizon. Captain, runway ahead. The military airbase appeared like a glowing island in the darkness. The long runway lights stretched across the ground. Harris felt his heart pounding. Phoenix, he said quietly, we're approaching the runway. The voice responded one last time with calm precision. Lower landing gear at 5 miles. Maintain 150 knots. Engine 2 will carry most of the load during landing. Lewis followed every instruction carefully. The landing gear dropped with a heavy thud. Passengers in the cabin felt the change and realized they were finally descending to land. Some people began praying quietly. Others gripped their seats nervously. Outside, the F-22 jets peeled away slightly, giving the passenger aircraft room to land. Flight 271, Eagle 1 said. You're clear for final approach. Harris lined the aircraft with the runway. Speed steady, Lewis reported. Altitude good. The runway rushed closer. For a moment, everything depended on those fragile engines. Then, thump! The wheels touched the ground. The aircraft bounced once, then settled onto the runway as Harris applied the brakes. The plane rolled down the runway safely. Inside the cockpit, both pilots sat in stunned silence. They had made it. In the passenger cabin, cheers erupted. Some passengers cried with relief. Others applauded the crew. But Harris immediately grabbed the radio again. Phoenix, we landed safely. Silence answered him. Lewis adjusted the frequency. Phoenix, do you copy? Nothing. The mysterious voice that had guided them through the entire crisis was gone. Moments later, Eagle 1 spoke again. Flight 271, welcome to base. Harris asked quickly. Eagle 1, do you know who Phoenix is?